Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the third part of attacking tennis elbow on all fronts. And this video is about changing your strings. So a lot of people, recreational players, use poly strings because that's what the pros use. That's what is abundant, and I think that's a huge mistake. If you go into a deep dive of what poly strings actually do to help your tennis, you will realize that it's totally useless and more detrimental to a recreational player's game than you think. You know, how do polys work? Well, polys are stronger. They are more dead, meaning a high level player could swing faster, get more spin on the ball, and have the ball keep in control because the deadness keeps the ball from flying away out of control. So that's why they use high tension, dead strings. So as a recreational player, and I'm talking about 95% of recreational players do not need poly strings because we don't hit as hard and consistently as hard as pro players. So we don't need dead strings. A matter of fact, dead strings make us hit harder than what we need to. So we're putting in more work and energy into that ball than what we actually need to. And our bodies, we are not trained athletes like professional tennis players. We just don't have the time on the court and just the conditioning to withstand that level of energy that you must put into a ball to hit with dead strings, especially strung at higher tensions. Higher tensions to me is 55 and up. And then we're using stiff rackets. I talked about rackets in the first video, I believe. Go to that one and see how rackets affect your tennis elbow. So here I am hitting with a fellow teammate and friend, and I'm hitting with a soft racket. This is a Phantom, Prince Phantom in the Phantom line, very flexy. And I also took the extra step of putting in natural gut strings in the mains and monofilament synthetic gut in the courses to keep the course down, because natural gut strings are like $50 a pack. So if I could get 2 string jobs from one pack, that makes me feel better about my spending. But in reality, if you're really dealing with arm pain, you should just put gut in the full bed to get the maximum plush comfort. Now, strings, poly strings, what they do. Well, poly strings, they give the pros extra spin, yes, because they bite the ball, yes. But also there's a thing called snapback. Snapback is when the mains grab the ball in contact when it's being crushed, and they slide down as you go low to high with your top spin stroke, and then the string kind of slingshot snaps back on the string bed into the ball and gives you that extra bit of spin into the ball. So that's snapback, and that gives you the spin with the strings moving at super quick speeds that the human eye can't even tell. And that's how poly works. It works until the strings start to get notched. Once the strings get notched with each other, and if you ever looked at your strings and you notice that they're digging into each other with grooves, that's notching. And if you try to slide the string out of place of the groove, it's like hitting a reverse speed bump, a gouge, and they get stuck. So at a certain point, which is fairly quickly, your string bed cannot move. And therefore, the benefit, if any, that you've seen, because to get snapback, you really have to put some racket head speed and some good technique, as in a topspin forehand, to even get the benefit of snapback. So most amateur players are not hitting like that, so they'll never see snapback even if their strings aren't notched. And if you are able to hit hard and get some snapback, it's quickly going to go away due to notching. So once your strings get notched and locked into place, the benefit of polys are gone, and all you're left is with the stuff that's not beneficial, which is a stiff, dead bed of strings, and now you're hitting with this stiff bed and probably in a stiff racket, and all that vibration that's bad for you is going right into your hand, wrist, and arm and shoulder. And but why do the pros use it? Well, because if you haven't noticed, the pros change their rackets every so often. Every time they change balls, they're sometimes changing their rackets. So they have a racket bag full of 20 rackets for one match. And sometimes they use most of all of them, and sometimes they only use a few, depending on the pro, depending on what string setup they have. And they have the money and the resources to do that. The amateur player will not change their poly strings until they break, maybe in 6 months, maybe a year. Let's be real. When's the last time you changed your strings? So you're taking away all the benefit. You're probably, let's say you have the racket head speed to hit like a pro and get snapback effect. That's only going to last maybe a match or two, 3 or 4 good hitting sessions, and then a pro would change out his strings probably quicker than that, and then they'll get the fresh strings, the snapback effect, and they'll change when that's gone. But the amateur player is going to stick with that string bed until it breaks, and there comes the arm issues, and it's just kind of insanity, to tell you the truth. And of course, the string manufacturer ain't gonna advertise this. They give the people what they want. People want, they want the same strings that the pro use. Yeah, it feels like it gives you more bite, more topspin at first, and you don't realize how that goes away. And so let me give you an idea. Some say in the studies that 90% of the topspin comes from technique, from the form, from the shape of the stroke. The strings could help you the rest of the 10%. So is that 10% worth your arm health, shoulder health, wrist health, enjoyment of the game? I say no. Marketing has us convinced that polys are going to help our game. I'm not saying they don't, but we're not using it correctly as they're meant to be used, which is to be changed frequently. So think about your strings. Go synthetic. Go 50 pounds, even 45 pounds if you're currently dealing with arm pain. And if you're losing a little bite and topspin, then just swing more vertical and change your stroke, because it's not worth the 10% with poly strings. And synthetic gut, it'll break often, but that's basically forcing you to change the fresh strings often. And yeah, it's a little more effort, a little bit more money, but how much is your arm pain worth to you and arm health? So that's my quick take on strings, part 3. Part 4 video, we'll look at some of let's talk about the aids for tennis, arm braces and sleeves, and how that helps with tennis elbow. Or does it really? Like and subscribe to find out. Talk to you later. Bye.